hope you're all doing well. We are having some crazy weather again here at the moment. Over the last few weeks, we've had snow up to our knees. Then we've had bright sunshine like we've got now. Yesterday, we had 50-mile-an-hour winds, which is terrible for filming outside because all you get across the microphone is the wind noise. So we've got another video here from the kitchen table. Thankfully, we got our delivery of seed potatoes. So we're going to be talking all about potatoes, what we're going to be doing with them this year and how we're going to plant them up. So, first of all, a big shout out to Potato House. That is a seed potato company up here in Scotland. They're about 60-70 miles north of us here. They're in Dundee, us being in Linlithgow. We get our seed potatoes from there every year. So we've got about 5 or 6 different varieties in here. Plus, on top of that, another big shout out to Potato House and the Allotment Transformations Facebook group, who did a competition in conjunction with each other, and I won the competition, believe it or not. So I won another 2 sacks of the seed potatoes, which is brilliant, but now I have to try and find some space to put them at the plot. Who knows where they go? Perhaps we'll have to make some more room somewhere. Anyway, back to business. So this year, we're going to grow potatoes in 3 different ways. We're going to use the 30-litre pots. We have got the 2 big potato beds dug into the ground, and we're also going to get some Hessian sacks that we're going to grow potatoes in there. I'll do different videos later on that you can see how I'm going to set the pots up, how I'm going to use the sacks, how I'm going to prepare the ground, that sort of stuff. That's for another time, not for this time. We'll just talk about the seed potatoes and getting them started this time. So a few big questions to be asked.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
No, not that one. It's to chit or not to chit. That is the question. I'll come to that towards the end of the video. Determinate and indeterminate, and which varieties of seed potato I have chosen. So we might as well start with that. So like I say, I've got a few different ones. They've all come from Potato House. I'll just pick one bag out here at random, and I will have to check the label to see what these ones are. These ones are International Kidney. Might sound like a bit of a funny name. What they actually are is Jersey Royals. But unless you grow them on Jersey, you can't call them that. So you call them International Kidney when they're not being grown on Jersey. So there's the other varieties that we've got for the year. So we've split them up into 3 different types. We've got first earlies, second earlies, main crops. For those of you who don't know, most of you will do. First earlies are the first ones already. Second early are seconds, and your main crop are the ones that come later in the year. That are usually slightly bigger. So the 2 first early varieties we've got are Red Duke of York and Pentland Javelin. The second earlies we've got are Charlotte, Yukon Gold and International Kidney, which are these ones here. The International Kidney is a funny one that sort of crosses between second early and main crop. It can often be an early main crop as well as a second early. And the main crop ones we're doing are the Sarpo Axona, if I pronounce that right, Sarpo Mira, Maris Piper and Mayan Rose. And we look to get them going, and they'll definitely be going in the ground and not in the pots just because of the size that they get to. So the first thing I want to talk about with these as well is whether they are determinate or indeterminate potatoes. That's often missed in a lot of these things when people look at and talk about seed potatoes. So to explain that, determinate, the potatoes that come out of the seed potatoes, so those tubers that come out and off the end of the chits that grow on them, they'll often grow all at around about the same sort of level. So they won't grow up, they won't go down, they'll grow at pretty much around about the same level that you plant the seed potato on. Now that's really important if you're using the sort of earthing up method when you grow your potatoes, if you earth up the plants as they grow. Because with the determinate ones, you don't need to do that. Because the potatoes aren't going to sort of poke their heads up above the soil. And when they do that, you know, the sun gets on them, they go green and you can't use them. So the indeterminate ones, they're the ones that you need to really trench and then earth up as they grow. So you could save yourself a whole load of trouble and a whole lot of work by looking up whether your seed potatoes are determinate or indeterminate, and whether you need to earth them up as the season goes on and as they grow and get bigger and bigger. Anyway, on to the next bit that everybody gets. It gets a little bit controversial, to chit or not to chit. Generally, I will chit all of my potatoes, and by chitting, all we're doing is getting that potato started a bit early. So what I'll do is show you what I'm going to do with mine. Certainly the first and second early varieties, I would definitely recommend chitting them. Main crop ones, doesn't matter quite so much. I saw Dave's Allotment actually did a video on this a couple of weeks back, and Dave made a great point. He was speaking to one of the old timers at the Allotment, and he said that chitting is just something that people with allotments do to pass the time when they've got nothing much else to do in the colder months. And you know what? He's probably onto something, but it makes it feel as though you're doing something and you're getting some progress done. So these ones here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to use a good old egg box. We've got the 6 egg one and the 12 egg one, doesn't matter which. These are brilliant for keeping your seed potatoes upright, and you need to make sure you've got them the right way up. So if we pick this one out, for example, the potato has got 2 ends to it. The end with the eyes on it, that the chits are going to come out of, and the end with what's called the rows on it, and that's the bottom of the potato. That's where the seed potato was originally attached to the plant and the chit that it came from. So you want to make sure the rows goes at the bottom and the eyes go at the top. And all I'm going to do is check each one of these in turn. You see, egg boxes are absolutely brilliant. Oops, that one's the wrong way around. Absolutely brilliant for this job, because the little sections where the eggs go are just the right size for keeping seed potatoes in. And then the top, you can put them in there as well. Honestly, you can use anything. You can use a plastic box, a container, whatever you've got. Once I've got them stacked up like this, I'm going to put them in the spare room upstairs. Now that room, it's north facing, so it doesn't get a lot of sun during the day, but it is bright. And because it's a spare room, we've got the radiator turned off in there, so it's quite a cool room as well. So what you want to do with your potatoes when you're getting them chitting is to make sure that they're in somewhere bright, but not in direct sunlight, because you don't want the potatoes to go green and get that sort of horrible toxic sort of taste that you can't really use. You don't want to have those big, long, straggly white chits that you see in them sometimes. You don't want those. You want little short, fat ones, believe it or not, that are sort of purpley kind of colour, almost white, that don't come very far off the potato at all. So with the other ones, I'm going to pop these in other egg boxes. I'm going to pop them upstairs in the spare room and lay them out. It's you know what, 24th, 25th of February now, if I'm remembering rightly. What these will do, these will probably sit there for about a month, thereabouts. At the same time, I've got some agricultural fleece that I'm going to put on the beds up at the allotment to start warming them up, because it's still quite cold here in Scotland. Although it's nice and sunny outside, it's still pretty cold. The wind's absolutely wild at the moment. So we're going to get those beds warmed up for a month, just raising the soil temperature a few degrees, just ready to get them going. And once we planted the seed potatoes, we'll get them covered up, because we don't want them getting affected by frost. The slightest touch of frost can really affect your potatoes and kill them off. Either that, or set you back a good few weeks where you want to be, as the potatoes and the plants that go with them have got to recover. Remembering our last frost date up here is around about the first week in May. So I'm going to start getting these out in a month's time, end of March, middle of April sort of time. Hopefully the plants from the seed potatoes won't be poking their heads up above the ground before our last frost date, and the seed potatoes are deep enough, and we'll keep that fleece on top as well until the plants start to appear, just to keep them warm enough, and hopefully we'll dodge that last frost and the seed potatoes will survive and thrive as the year goes on. Anyway, that's it from me for now. If you would like to keep up to date with our antics, by all means, give us a subscribe to the channel and see what's going on. Give us a thumbs up as well. Drop any comments, any questions. We try our best to get back to absolutely everybody that we can when we have time. Always fab to see people's questions and what other people are up to and ideas people have. Some more videos coming up, hopefully at the weekend. Once this wind's died down, I'm going to be back up the plot and we'll get some filming done there. It is absolutely desperate to be tidied up. What a mess some of it is. There's a couple of beds that are rife with weeds. The shed's a right mess. I just want to get up there a good sort of half a day, have a good spring clean, and it'll be looking absolutely brilliant, ready for some new stuff to go out. Right ho folks, thanks again for watching. We'll see you again shortly. Bye for now.